Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast, Voice of the Past, and we are going to be having a special guest, Jaden Salgado. Today we are going to be talking about how genocide actually starts. A lot of people think it begins suddenly with violence, but it doesn't. It actually builds up over time.
Hey everyone, I'm Jaden Salgado, and like Allison said, we're going to be talking about genocide, and we're going to be talking about the 5 stages of genocide. We're going to be talking about how signs or those stages still show up in today's world, and we're going to be using the Holocaust as our main example because it is the most known and the most significant.
A quick breakdown of genocide is the intentional efforts to destroy a group of people, but not just one event. It's a process that happens in stages over time.
Understanding these stages helps us recognize early warning signs and can help prevent people from letting these problems get any worse.
As Jaden mentioned earlier, the Holocaust took place during World War II when millions of Jewish people and others were targeted and killed by Nazi Germany.
But it doesn't start with just violence. It starts with language, ideas, actions, and so many different other types of ways to make discrimination feel quote-unquote normal.
Stage 1 of genocide that we chose was classification. Classification is when people are divided into groups, basically us versus them.
During the Holocaust, people were labeled based on their religion, their identity, and this was mainly affected towards Jewish people.
This makes it easier to separate people and treat them differently because they were no longer seen as one united group.
Discrimination is stage 2, which is unequal laws or rules. So discrimination is when a group is targeted through unfair rules or laws.
For example, Jewish people were not allowed to have certain jobs, go to certain schools, or participate fully in society.
These rights slowly took away their rights and their freedom and made inequality seem normal, which it is not.
Stage 3, dehumanization. Dehumanization is when a group is described as less than a human.
During the Holocaust, media and propaganda used harmful language to describe Jewish people, and this was obviously a negative impact towards the Jewish people, and in many ways it discarded the way they were.
This kind of language made it easier for others to accept unfair treatment because people stopped seeing them as equal human beings.
Stage 4 is persecution. So that is pretty much when a group is being actively targeted.
People were forced out of their homes, separated from others, and placed into controlled areas.
At this point in their lives, they were being completely controlled and they had very little freedom, and they pretty much were just being enslaved at this point.
Stage 5, denial. Denial happens after the violence, when people try to say it didn't happen or it wasn't that bad.
Some people even try to ignore the evidence or try to change the story or the topic because they want to avoid the responsibility, which is complete bogus if you ask me.
This is dangerous because it prevents people from actually learning what happened in history. Imagine if warning signs of violence could be recognized before it's too late.
Introducing Humanity Watch, an app designed to help influencers, educators, and everyday people to identify early stages of mass violence and genocide.
Using verified research and real-time reporting tools, Humanity Watch helps users learn the stages of genocide.
Report concerning activity safely and anonymously.
Access educational resources to promote tolerance and understanding.
And to connect with organizations working to prevent violence worldwide.
Because genocide doesn't start with violence, it starts with words, division, and silence.
With Humanity Watch, you're not just staying informed, you're being part of the solution.
Download Humanity Watch and stop hate before it grows.
So the big question is, can this still show up or pop up today?
Not in the exact same way, but early warning signs can still show up.
Like when groups of people are being blamed for problems or they're just being described in negative, harsh, violent ways.
Also, when certain groups started being treated unfairly or excluded.
These are all early stages, and they're very, very important to notice because once you catch them when they're early, it obviously prevents them from getting any larger.
What can regular people actually do about this?
First, you can speak up when you hear harsh jokes, stereotypes, language, because these are all the main starting points of how they can grow.
Second, support people who are being treated unfairly. Don't just ignore it. Go.
Third, learn real history. Don't just take stuff that you hear off media like TikTok, Instagram, search it up on Safari. Dive in, like read books, take it serious because that's the foundation. So that can help you prevent it.
And also, use your voice in safe ways, like at school or online, to stand up for others.
I think the biggest takeaway is that genocide doesn't just randomly start or it just pops up like that. It builds up and gradually increases over time.
Yeah, and if people actually notice the early stages, there's actually a chance to stop this.
Which makes understanding genocide and all of its steps and stages very, very important.
Thank you everyone for listening, and a big thanks to Jaden for joining us on today's episode.
Of course, no problem. Thank you all for listening again. And make sure you guys tune in to that website that we talked about just in case if anything's going on. Love y'all and have a good day.
Hi, I'm here with
Katie?
and I'm going to be asking her if she knows what genocide is.
Yes, I know what genocide is.
And do you know any events that happened because of genocide?
Yes, I know of the Holocaust, which was a mass killing of Jews in Germany.
Hi, I'm here with
Ella?
Bailey?
and I'm going to be asking them if they know what genocide is.
No.
So genocide is a mass killing of a group of people that are being targeted. Do you guys know any other events that could include to that?
Like the Holocaust?
Yes, that would be one of them. Hi, I'm here with
Kevin Quinn.
and I'm going to be asking him what genocide is.
Genocide is the systematic killing of people based off a religious, ethnic, or religious group.
Okay, and I'm also going to be asking you if there's any events that you know that happened because of genocide.
Yes, well, the more recent one was Rwanda, but we'll talk about the Holocaust, which occurred roughly between 1941 and 1945.
How do you feel about the Holocaust?
Obviously, it's very sad and disturbing. It's very sad how people don't even realize a decade before they started systematically setting this up until they came out with a final solution. Obviously, genocide's horrible, and the Holocaust is an awful event.
Yes.